With all due honor and praise to the Most High, I worship thee through the divine image of our wives. Amen. Welcome to the Horseman Law Podcast, and we're black at it. What's up, peeps? All my brothers out there, man, check in. I know if you're out there on the field right now working, out there on the job, hope you're safe, hope you're secure. I hope your clients are safe. I'm hoping everybody get back home safe and you don't have any issues or any problems out there. It's rough out there right now. You know, we say something on the page a lot. We call it horseman country. It's definitely horseman country. And we're going to talk about it tonight. It's been a changing of the guard. It's been a new pendulum swinging. We're coming into a new age and a new consciousness, and I'm excited for it. I'm proud of it. So it's something we've been talking about for a long time. We've been talking about that pendulum swinging back the other way. We've had it for the past 20 years, 20 plus years. We've had the effeminization. We've had the period of the boy for a long time, and you know, we've seen it. We've seen it genetically. We've seen the genetic change of men in the past 20 plus years. Just the way they look, the way they walk, the way they talk, the way they carry themselves, and it's coming back. We're gonna get back. We're gonna get back to that. Y'all had your skirts, you had your dresses, you had your time. Now it's our time, and I'm looking forward to it. So let's get into it, man. Let's chop it up. Sports news. The Lakers are officially out of the playoffs. No chance. And hey, they tried it. They went for it, and it didn't work out. I respect LeBron and the Lakers organization for giving LeBron the power in order to try to create his own team. He went for it. He put a lot of his homies, a lot of the people he grew up with. I mean, well, not grew up, but a lot of people he grew up playing with. He put them on the squad, and it was just a few years too late. I think if this was a few years ago, if this same squad was a few years ago, they probably could do some real damage in the league. But, you know, nobody beats age. And even though LeBron is still at his age one of, if not the best player in the league, he just can't do it all by himself anymore. So, drink to them, drink to LeBron. I sincerely hope he gets to play with his son, and I hope his body holds up. So, salute to them. Salute to LeBron. And if you guys didn't get the memo, I'm a Nets fan, you know. And those of y'all who know me know I really don't give a fuck about sports, but not those kind of sports. I only give a fuck about combat sports. But I'm a Nets fan because of Kyrie, and I just love the fact that he's ruffling the feathers of of shoe booties all across the nation. I love the fact that he's getting under their skin. I love the fact that they got to start to retract and kind of, take back all the crap they said about Kyrie and his choices. The fact that he can play uninhibited, unencumbered in New York now. The mayor had to because of baseball. Let's get that straight. Let's get that understood. The only reason why Adams rolled back the mandate is because of baseball. Now, that's the biggest slap in the face to us as a people, if you were paying attention. He stood his ground and he was making a scene and was making a case to why Kyrie shouldn't be allowed to play and why he wouldn't make any kind of changes specifically for Kyrie because it would send a bad message to New York. Come on, man. The moment them baseball players stepped out of those agreements, those meetings to avoid a lockout, the moment they stepped out of there, they called him and he shoe bootied up. The moment. I mean, he wasted no time. They called him on a Wednesday. The mandates were up on a Thursday. Now, that should give you a clear example of power and the shoe bootyism we got going on in politics and in sports and in journalism. That should tell you right there where the power is. And if you're paying attention enough, you understand that there's absolutely no way that MLB and the owners of baseball were going to allow this new dude, a black man, come in there and dictate to them players who couldn't play and, the money that they were going to lose, because no one talks about the MLB and their vaccination rates. Nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about the players in the MLB and how many of them refuse vaccination. Quiet as kept. Nobody speaks about that. Stephen A. isn't running his mouth, drooling out his lips, talking bad about the MLB. Quiet. Crickets. Mike Wilbon isn't running his mouth about the MLB. Crickets. Not one player, let alone Aaron Rodgers. See, I don't see nobody doing no huge diatribe about how bad and how much of a bad influence Aaron Rodgers is. So you're not going to get that from Stephen A. Smith. You're not getting that from Shaq. You're not getting that from Charles Barkley. But boy, do they got something to say about Kyrie. He's a bad influence on the people. He's no hero. See, pay attention to the small things, man. I'm paying attention to the small things because in the larger picture, those small things are big things. Those small things are big things. It's up for you sugar booties. It's up for you shoe booties. You've had your time. You had 25 years plus of being cold punks. And it's up. Speaking of that, let's get into it, man. Let's talk about this slap. Now, a lot of my brothers on the DMs and in the chats, everybody had opinions about this. A lot of brothers thought it was fake. A lot of brothers thought it was, a whole setup because they're actors and, maybe this is just a rollout ploy. Chris Rock had a tour coming. Will Smith always got something coming down the line eventually. So maybe this was all a rollout. Maybe this is all a play. I beg to differ. And I'm going to tell you why I beg to differ. I beg to differ because I know a few things behind the scenes. One, and two, it's a very well-kept, I wouldn't say secret, but it's a well-kept knowing fact that some of the largest supporters, some of the largest financial supporters, some of the largest supporters behind the scenes, off the books, off the record, supporters of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is Will Smith. Some of us who know. Some of us who don't. He probably won't ever say it public. Him and Jada probably won't ever say it public, won't ever come out and report that they are huge followers and believers in the nation and the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, but they are nonetheless. So never mind what these shoe booties got to say about what he did. Never mind what Will Packard and Tyler Perry and, all the rest of these dudes, never mind what they got to say. I don't care. I can care less what Jim Carrey's got to say about it. Understand? It's none of his business if you ask me. But the only opinion I want to hear is that of the elders. I want to hear the elders. What do the elders have to say about it? Right? What's the law according to the elders? What's the law according to the nation? What's the law according to the most powerful black organization this world has ever seen? And I'm not a member of the nation. I do not believe in the theology of the nation and the religious aspect of the nation. No disrespect for those who do. I don't believe in organized religion. But as far as principles, morals, values, and standards, there's no greater organization the black man has ever known than the Nation of Islam. And what they got to say about it. I want to know what they got to say about it. I'll wait. I'll tell you what they got to say about it. What they got to say about it is any man willing to disrespect a black man's wife in his presence, the punishment is death. That's what the nation has to say. That's what Farrakhan has said, the Honorable Minister Farrakhan. That's what the Honorable Minister Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has said. That's what the Honorable Fard Muhammad has said. Death. Now, you can say that's crazy or that's wild. That's out of bounds. That's an overreaction. That's this, that's that. Listen, let's go out through our history. Let's go back. Let's go back before colonization. Let's go back before slavery. Let's go back before there was ever a European. Let's go back that far. Every nation on this planet, every nation of people, every group of people, every tribe of people on this planet for thousands of years knew one rule. That is not to mess with another man's woman. That is a universal truth. That is a universal law. That is why it's in every organized religion. It's part of the Ten Commandments. It's part of the Torah. It's a part of all the books. All the books. Judaism, Christianity, Islam, you pick it, you name it. The punishment for adultery, the punishment for coveting another man's wife, the punishment for messing with the wife of a man was death. You would be killed. Look at the Middle Eastern countries. It's a so-called Middle East. There's no such thing as a Middle East. But look at those countries. Look at those Islamic Muslim countries. Shit, in some places you can't even be alone with another man's woman, or you'll be stoned, killed, let alone disrespect one. That's how serious this has been for thousands of years. So now all of a sudden we're in America, and now all of a sudden some liberal punks, some white liberal punks gonna tell you what you can and cannot do, and what you're supposed to take and what you're supposed to allow to happen in your presence? Nah, bro. What the elders got to say? Never mind that. Never mind that. never mind that. And let me clarify. I, for one, do not believe in violence over emotion. I do not believe, and somebody say that's hypocritical, that doesn't make sense. Let me explain. I don't believe in violence over emotion. I believe in violence as a strategy, as a strategic decision. That's what I believe. I believe violence is a move on a chessboard, a decision that shouldn't be made without measuring, calculating the repercussions, calculating the conditions, the environment for which you commit violence. And it should never be an emotional decision. I'm not sure what Will Smith did was an emotional reaction. I'm not convinced of that. I believe that it was a strategic move. I believe he weighed the scenario, he weighed his options, calculated those options, and for him and his family and his kingdom, that was the best response. Now, why do I say that? I say this. 2016, Chris Rock made some unfavorable remarks about Jada Pinkett Smith at the Oscars during his monologue. Jada was planning to boycott the Oscars because there were no black nominees. Famously, it was the all-white Oscars. Everybody remembers that. But he made some unfavorable remarks about Jada, about her not being important enough or not having a necessary status to even be invited to the Oscars. Now, okay, I believe Will, who knew Chris Rock, they had some form of relationship. If you remember, Chris Rock was on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air multiple times. I believe they had other projects they did together. So Will Smith and Chris Rock knew each other. I believe Will asked him respectfully as a man to man, hey, listen, I'm open season. You can make whatever joke about me. I have no problem making fun of myself. But when it comes to my wife, do me a favor. As black men, as brothers, do me a favor. Lay off her. Just lay off her. Now, if Chris Rock felt so strongly about his ability and his freedom to disrespect a man's wife in his presence or not, he could have said it then and there. He could have said this in 2016, 2017. I don't give a fuck what Will Smith got to say. I'm going to say whatever I want to say. And if he bad enough, do something about it. He could have done that. He did not. He did not. So, here we are. 2022 Oscars. Chris is back in the same spot. Not hosting, but he's presenting. And he makes the conscious choice to address this man's wife in his presence, front row, and not only address her, he goes about making fun of her medical condition, whether he knew or not. I don't think it matters whether or not he knew she had a medical condition or not. If he had already been previously told, as brothers in this business, do me a favor, lay off my wife, and he chose not to, and he chose to poke fun at Jada in his presence. This was already a thing. I'm sure Will and Jada already had conversations over 2016. I'm sure they already had a conversation about Chris's disrespect in 2016, whether or not you perceive it as disrespect or not. I'm sure they already had a conversation about that. It's already been mentioned in the household. They've already had discussions already. The line had been drawn. This is manhood. This is man shit. Like I said, this is thousands and thousands of years, generation after generation. The aspect of a man protecting his woman, this is generational. This is out the womb. This is since the beginning of creation. God don't care about the Oscars. See, when you get down to the bare bones of it, when you get down to the basic nature of a man and a woman, never mind the liberal spill, never mind the Republican outrage, never mind the Democrats, the Democrats, right? Never mind the Republic fucks. Never mind them. Never mind the political gangbanging. Never mind the social justice, virtue signaling. Never mind any of that. Never mind how comfortable shoe booties are sitting in front of the audience and sitting in front of other people talking about their own people. Never mind that. I'm talking basic nature. I'm talking the nature, animal kingdom. Because ultimately that's what we are, we're animals. Show me where they let that go down in the animal kingdom. Nah, man. Nah, I think that's a strategic decision. Here's a man who's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. He's over 50. So he can't be worried about a career. What? Career probably lasts a career that only has about 6 years left on it. He'll be a mainstream actor. Well, for the next 6 years, maybe. You know, acting roles will come few and far between. Typecast into roles that people might not want to watch in his older age because he was an action star. So you got an industry that has no love for you in the first place. You got a system that has no love for you in the first place. You got a career that only cares about how much money you can make it. You got a room full of actors and pretenders and demons. You're sitting in a room full of demons. So what do? It's either them or your kingdom. Never mind what kind of person Jada is. Never mind what kind of morals and values she may have. She's yours. Never mind if she's the greatest woman in the world or she ain't shit bitch. It don't matter. She's yours. What you gonna do? Because you got the rest of your life with her. That's clear. Jada ain't going nowhere. Will ain't going nowhere. That's clear. So what choice you gonna make? You want to appease the public, appease your career, appease your bosses, appease the left, appease the right by being a good boy and sitting there and allowing your woman to be embarrassed by this man you have already talked to previously. You want to be the Will Smith that everybody loves and adores, or be the Will Smith at home that's hated by his family and his wife. Nah, that's a strategic decision. He got to go. Bold move. It's time for bold moves. And the law says, God says, disrespect by another man of your wife is punishable by taking his life. That's what the law says. So under that perspective, under that reality, a slap was mild. And you got to be willing to take whatever consequences come from it. I think he is. And I think he should. Let me just say this, man. God forbid a fool thinks he can disrespect my wives in front of me, in my presence. God forbid. I don't know what I would do. I'm not going to presume that I would ever know exactly what my behavior would be. But I know me well enough to know I ain't finna slap him. I'm gonna try to break his back. I know that. So do I have any sympathy for Chris Rock? I honestly do. I have sympathy for Chris Rock. I have sympathy for Will Smith as well. But ultimately, I'm going to tell you, like Killer J told me, a story about Allen Iverson. Situation happened with Allen Iverson, and I'm sure they wouldn't mind me telling the story, between somebody who knew Allen Iverson, maybe a friend of his, and Jay Kane. And the man was so he was so hurt by what Jay Kane did or said that he went to Allen Iverson and tried to tell on him. Probably the worst thing that you could probably try to do to a horseman, because we really don't give a fuck about you telling. But he went to Allen Iverson expecting some kind of recourse, some type of enforcement, that maybe Jay Kane would be, berated or, adjusted. Maybe he'd be told off by Allen Iverson or something like that. And Iverson said something I'll never forget, what he told me. He said, "You a man, and he's a man. Y'all work that shit out. Nothing else needs to be said. You a man, he a man. Y'all work that shit out." That's where it's at, people. Ultimately, never mind the Oscars, never mind you in church, never mind you in DMV line, never mind you in Popeye's Chicken. I don't care where you at. You a man and he a man, and y'all gonna have to figure that out. What drives me up the wall is to see so many shoe booty Negroes on TV day in and day out for the past 7 days tell you about how we should behave in front of company. Who's the company? Is the question you should be asking. Who's the company? Because if the world is a house, this is our house. Who's the company that you have to behave in front of? See, a lot of you Negroes ain't killed the slave in you yet. Alive and well, deep down in your spirit, you ain't got them out of there yet. A lot of black women ain't got the slave woman out of them either. Alive and well, deep down inside you. You got to behave because it's the Oscars. When have they ever behaved in front of you? That's the question you should be asking. When have they ever behaved in front of you? Never. That's the key, never. So that's the Horseman's opinion about the slap and Will Smith and Chris Rock. Moving on to more serious matters, and the real topic of tonight's show, Sacramento. Those of you that don't know, those of you that do, Sacramento suffered a mass shooting that killed 6, injured 10. And this was in the streets. A number of bars closed, a club, I think a club closed, and people were leaving for the evening where a fight broke out. And during the melee of that fight, shots rang out and left 6 dead, 10 wounded. How do you prevent something like that? And that's what I want to talk about tonight. And I want to get Killer J's perspective on it. So if we can try to get him on the horn and see what he has to say about it.
Please leave your message for 5.
Okay, he's still, okay. All right, we'll try him back in a minute. But yeah. Now, I'm gonna give you guys some information. And I want you guys to follow up on this information. There's a gentleman by the name of Gavin D. Becker. Some of you in the industry know him. I've read a couple of his books already. He did a podcast on Joe Rogan recently. And his whole thing is preventable protection. Preventing scenarios of assassination of high profile clients. And his information is very valuable. He's done a lot of research, done a lot of training, and I believe he does have a school for protectors of some sort, mostly military, corporate, and business and things of that nature. A little something different from what we provide and what we do. But nonetheless, that information is valuable. And you guys should do more research on Gavin De Becker and watch that podcast. And very important. Listen, there are several things that happen before an incident happens. Now, if you're trained in, people will call reading the tea leaves, if you're trained on seeing these cues, right, before an incident happens, that's very valuable because you can avoid situations like what happened in Sacramento. You know, how many of you have been in a situation where there was a fight or a fight broke out in a business or in a club, at a bar, and that fight starts to draw attention? People start navigating towards that altercation. That's a prime example of what happened in Sacramento. Here it is, a group of people fighting in the street. People start to close in on that situation. And most of which found themselves victimized by that situation. And most of them probably weren't even involved. That's the sad part about it. I think Killer J's trying to call, so let's try to get him back on if we can.
Please leave your message for 5.
Try him back one more time. He's calling me as you're calling him, so.
Please leave your message for...
All right. Oh, okay, cool. He's moving right now. So we'll try him back in a minute. But yeah, there's certain cues you need to pay attention to. There's certain things you need to be aware of before we get into a situation. There's certain things that we have to be mindful of, especially in large groups. First of all, I don't go out unless I'm being paid. That's just me. That's just my character. I'm a very isolated individual. So if I'm not getting paid, I don't particularly want to be in part of any type of large group in any type of social situation. And sadly, especially with black people, I'm sorry. I just don't feel like we're in a place healthy enough to socialize in large groups.
To accept, press 1. To send a voice.
Oh, yeah, let's get John in.
Hey,
What's up, my guy?
what's going on, brother?
Oh, man, just good to hear from you, man. I'm out here on the show, chopping it up.
Wow, what are you talking about, man?
Sacramento, man.
What are you talking about, Sacramento?
Sacramento. You heard about that mass shooting in Sacramento?
Yes, sir.
Well,
That was had to be an automatic weapon.
had to be, right?
I'm watching. I'm actually watching it with Killer J right now.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah.
I'm thinking. You thinking intentional casualties, or what are you thinking?
I think definitely there was some intentional casualties, but the chopper was definitely spraying the spray. He was just hitting anything in sight,
So aiming at the crowd.
aiming at the crowd, hoping to hit somebody that was involved. Those bouncers got off easy.
Wow.
Yeah. The
See,
pedestrians, the civilians got hit bad, man.
and it's sad, and that's probably one of the biggest issues. And like I was saying before you called, people got to be smarter about being in large groups, especially nowadays. Clubs, nightclubs, things of that nature, man. Going into these large groups, it's almost not worth it anymore. I mean, you had this situation in Sacramento, but people don't forget the situation that happened here in Las Vegas. 65 shot, I believe 60 died. So
Yeah, at the country music thing, yeah.
exactly. So you're looking at fully automatic weapons, whether or not they're using bump stocks, whether or not they're using binary triggers. I don't know. From what I heard from the video, that definitely sounded like a binary trigger or some type of fully automatic weapon.
Well, we got someone here who's like a gun expert. Actually, what do you think it was? So what do you think? What kind of gun do you think it was? We're gonna listen to it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I barely let him off, man.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like a binary trigger of some sort. Maybe an AK. Maybe an AK with a binary or some type of.
Maybe in the case. What do you think? Yeah, here's it.
No, that was a binary because you can hear it. The
Right.
is off of pull and release.
Absolutely.
So-
Absolutely. Yeah.
But even nowadays, you can use a coat hanger to create a fully automatic on an AR-15 platform.
Right.
So if you twist it and bend it at the certain angles, you can make a full auto weapon.
So those of you that don't know who we're talking about binary triggers. Now, binary triggers are triggers that are custom made that you can put into your AR platform or AK platform, and basically it allows a fire from the moment you pull the trigger, and another fire when you release the trigger. So you get two trigger pulls you get two trigger fires out of one pull. That's what a binary trigger. And that's why we say what it sounds like. It sounds like a binary because of the rapidness of the fire in the video. Those of you that know.
No, definitely. That's exactly what it is. When it's 2 cycles of fire within a pull and a release.
Absolutely. So, I mean, this is what you're looking at now, man. This is the type of firepower people are looking at, and I know a lot of liberals out there, and those of you who are proponents and promote gun control. Understand that Sacramento probably has some of the most stringent gun laws in the nation, and they still have this type of firepower. So there's no avoiding it. It's
never going anywhere.
Exactly.
Because a binary trigger is not an NFA regulated component, so you can order it online and get it drop shipped directly to your house, unlike a lower platform or most registered pieces.
Wow. See, yeah.
So I can order it online, get it directly shipped to me within 2-3 days, install it in the AR, in an hour, and now I have a binary in my AR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, I'm a big fan of fuck it. If you got it, I want it. So
Exactly.
so it ain't a matter of trying to stop people from having it. That's too late. We got it. So if they got it, I want it. And that's how we're gonna have to fight fire with fire. But like I said earlier, we have to be able to see these things before they happen. I know we're trained to do so, but in the public, they need to train themselves as well to kind of see situations like this. And if you see a fight, if you see an altercation happening in the streets, run away from it, man. Don't go to it. Don't be drawn into it. Get away from it. Because like we said, most of these people who lost their lives in that situation were most likely not the people involved directly in the situation.
Do you think that a lot of this could be resolved through better handling of maybe even better hiring of certain people to just diffuse the situation rather than tossing people out that they have no idea what they're connected to or who they know?
You know, I'm gonna do you one better. I think you got to pay people more money.
Exactly.
I think the problem is you got minimum wage. You got minimum wage protectors out here who are supposed to be
Right.
in control of saving lives and preventing bad things from happening. And if you're getting paid minimum wage, that's not enough money to keep somebody knowledgeable about what they do. You end up with a lot of guys in the business, a lot of bouncers, a lot of security guards who have no clue of what they're doing. And being put in these situations where they have to enforce laws on other people and not knowing what they're doing, scuffles breaks out, full out brawls break out, and then you see the results of it.
So how do you think it's solved? You pay more, or you have to have proper training, you get better facilities for these people to actually go through, and then they get vetted, background checked, they have to go through CCW training, all that stuff.
I'm not even convinced that's enough. I think you have to pay them enough money, and you have to enforce. I've been talking about this for a long time. The only people who can accreditate or certify others in this business are people who know the business, right? So I think there needs to be, I think there needs to be some type of union in place. I think there needs to be some type of apprenticeship program where you have to be in the field for multiple years under a mentor, under a journeyman, before you can actually call yourself a protector, a security guard, a bouncer, or whatever the case may be. You have to learn those tools before you can apply them. Anytime you do anything, if you're in construction, you're a steel worker, you're a carpet guy, you're a wallpaper hanger, whatever the case, you have to apprenticeship in those programs, in those unions, before you can actually call yourself or be responsible for the work you put out. And I think that same thing applies to our business.
So you need a Mount Rushmore of security guards. Who's the Mount Rushmore?
Mount Rushmore, of course. Let me see. Without adding myself, because I don't want to be an asshole. But you definitely at the top of that. At the top of that, you got to put Killer J, of course. Over $1 billion worth of wealth protected and secured.
Yeah.
You got to put him up there. You got to put Wolf up there. Peace be upon him. Lost his life a long time ago. He was with Puff Daddy during that period. You got to put D-Rock up there. D-Rock is still around, still hanging out with Puff. He's been a long time friend of ours. Also been in the business doing his thing. And you know, and there's many others. You can even put, you know, cats that we've dealt with and cats that we've worked with before. You could put Spoon up there. I mean, there's a number of dudes that you could put on that list, depending on specifically what you're talking about. There's a number of guys in the military that do military protection. There's a number of guys that do government protection. I mean, but as far as hip hop is concerned, hip hop, sports, and entertainment, there's only a handful of dudes who have been doing this for 20 plus years. I myself have been doing it for over 15. Jay Kane over 25. And there's only a handful of dudes who can really call themselves at the top of that pyramid. Now, that being said, like I said earlier, those are the guys who should be the ones certifying members
Exactly.
out in the field. I've said it before, I say it again. If you don't have a stamp from the men that I've just mentioned, and you're calling yourself top tier in this industry, then you're sadly mistaken. Without our approval and our stamp in this industry, you're just a run-of-the-mill guy like everybody else. And your resume is going to have to stack up.
So what do you think would give someone a horseman stamp of approval? What would you consider a horseman?
Experience. Trenches.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be in the trenches. You got to be in the mud. You got to be out there. Killer J's better than me. I started in this business working for free. So,
right.
Jay believes that everybody deserves a livable wage, and you shouldn't be doing this work for free unless it means that much to you. Now, I concur with that. It's a different time. It's a different day. We don't have to do the things we used to have to do. It was worse back then, even worse during the period of time when Killer J began and when the Killer J started Horseman and they became what they are.
Right.
It was way worse. You're talking about 50 Cent. You're talking about Allen Iverson. You're talking about some of the most hated people in the industry. You're talking about the highest threat level, that you can imagine. Shootouts, gunfights, stabbings. This is the run-of-the-mill stuff back when they started and continued when I began. When you're talking about Floyd Mayweather, you're talking about Rick Ross, you're talking about Meek Mill, you're talking about beefs in the industry, Suge Knight, Tupac. These are the eras that men like Killer J and I myself have continued to work through. So it's not like that no more. It's different. Yeah. It's a different age. It's a different period. You're not fighting every night. You're not having to commit acts of violence on behalf of clients that aren't really going to do anything for you like we used to. But now you have to be smarter. Now there's more money. Lawsuits are rampant. And you have to be able to protect not only yourself, you have to protect your clients, you have to protect your business, you have to protect your ability to continue to earn. And that's going to take thought, and that's going to take getting close to people who know what they're doing.
So it's become political, and it's become more of a business. You have to be a businessman, but you still have to understand how to be in the trenches.
Of course, and you have to navigate the suckers, man. You have to navigate the pretenders.
Which is what we're seeing more and more apparently now, that it's not necessarily a security business how you guys started out, but now it seems more like you have to dodge more people than anything else. You have to get rid of people more rather than put people on.
Of course.
Seems like you get a group of 100 and you keep 4. Like Jason tells me, it's probably the favorite thing I ever heard him say. I'd rather take 4 quarters with me than 100 pennies.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That's what it's come down to.
See, and our battles have always been, the work. We survive and we thrive because of the work. The work speaks for itself. Today, in this day and age, it's easier to get a job based on promotion.
Right.
You've heard Jay talk about the IGs and the social medias. It's easier to get a gig by trying to dress up like a bodyguard than really being one, right? It's easy to play cosplay, and you could dress up in all the tactical gear and all this and all that, and go out and pretend to be a guard, but you never know what you really have.
Tactical.
Exactly.
Tactical. Instead of tactical, they call it tactical.
Tactical, absolutely. And it's all fun and games. It's all fun and games until guns really get drawn and situations really pop off. And more often than not, these dudes end up falling to the wayside. They're either getting locked up for being dumb, or, they're on the stand telling on everybody. So,
hey, Tank, I got Killer J coming right now.
For sure.
There you go.
What's up, boys? What's going on?
Boss Dog, what's happening?
I'm chilling, man. You know, it's crazy. I was sitting there talking with Daniel. He's an ex-Marine, you know what I'm saying, combat veteran. Salute to all the veterans. And we were just talking about that situation in Sacramento. You got to remember, man, I didn't investigate. That's the K-Bar, K-Club. We went there years ago with Yellow Boy on tour there. It's like, I think it's a one-way street. And the reason why that bouncer slipped because it's a cobblestone because, like, the train goes through there.
Wow.
And the funny thing is, it's a Bank of America down the street and where the Kings play at, so it definitely should be some cameras out there. But that was definitely some situation where, like, you know, like John just Snow and you said, you had these inexperienced doormen probably getting $10 an hour working there. You know, first of all, if the guy's a threat, why are you body slamming out the front door, your entrance of the nightclub? And because that's where the Patriots got to come in. You're going to lose money because they don't want to come in somewhere that appears to be violent. So, like you said, the training out here is totally non-existent anymore.
Right.
Then, like you say before, Tank, we were just talking tonight, you know, you got these guys, I gotta say it's the right way, these guys put these tactical uniforms. It doesn't mean you know you're doing security if you're tactical. This is not Baghdad or Fallujah. You don't have to have a life vest with security across it. Now, we both know, shout out to Nico. Nico was, you know, great at doing residential security of his people, but they don't even have tactical vests on.
Absolutely. Right.
Like, sometimes you can dress too much like a clown and blow the gig up because what we say, no client is going to pay for anybody dressed like they're going to Fallujah. They don't want that.
Wow. Yeah.
You might get that money working for Young and Ace. He might want somebody wearing tactical gear and banana clips out there good. Well, that's not what you want.
At all.
Kanye's the biggest clown on planet Earth. He don't have no security like that running around him.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The object is to secure, not to make people laugh.
Now that's deep.
Yeah.
That's exactly what's happening.
You cannot eat cereal with bleach, man. You know that.
And that's exactly what's happening out here, man. You got these dudes out here pretending to be something they're not. And like we said, man, like what you always say, at some point you got to take your shirt off. At some point, you got to take your shirt off.
At some point, you got to fuck with the lights on. You got to take that shirt off and let them see what you're working with, boy. You can't keep holding your T-shirt in your mouth while you fucking your doggy style. That ain't cool. Thank you. Skin on skin, baby. Look at that. Look, I'm trying to get to the bottom of was it the guy, the Brecker? I hope I'm saying his name right. He's saying some stuff
Becker.
that's kind of right.
Gavin the Becker.
Yeah, you got to remember, Tank, when we left Yellow Boy, he had two of his guys over there when Meek Mills and them stormed the Wells Fargo Center looking for them people, and them dudes ain't do nothing.
Nothing.
They weren't even armed.
Nothing.
Like, they got a heavy, like, I give them credit for it. You have a heavy day rate, my friend. Mm-hmm. But as far as in the trenches, not your style. No. People are saying there's Hollywood, there's private security for millionaires, there's business owners, there's property security, then there's the athletic hip-hop security. It's three different things, man. You cannot, some people can navigate in all the worlds, we know this, but to be active in the celebrity hip-hop athletic world, you're going to have a little dog in you. Mm-hmm. Even in this day and age, you have to have some type of show in you, you know? But the thing is that these guys can write these books. You only making a book based upon one type of clientele. If all I dealt with were people that went to the Playboy Mansion, that's only one type of security. Mm-hmm. If all I dealt with one type of security went to the clients went to Nobu, that's one type of security. Mm-hmm. I can't speak on all protection because I ain't done all that.
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I said this before, and you know that.
That's the illusion.
Yeah.
Like Joe Rogan's not going nowhere where anybody wants to take his head off.
Facts.
You can have all these comments in the world. He's going from Spotify to some stage at a comedy club to the UFC, then back to his house. Even the funny shit is Joe Rogan runs with 6-man detail.
Absolutely.
Y'all might not realize that. His guys are armed. His guys are ex-veterans. You know what I'm saying? So he's going to be more protected than what he appears that he's not. You know, that's the crazy part we take for Tank. One thing about security is not a game no more. This is the ultimate hustle.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I've been in this game for a long time. I've been bamboozled more than a goddamn prostitute on 14th Street, man. And these guys, that's how they sell their story. One guy said he was in the United States Marine Corps. He didn't know what was it, March 10th, you know what the Marine, or November 10th? November 10th, you know what November 10th birthday was? One guy said it was Special Forces, so your MRSOC or your recon. How are you Special Forces, bro? You're not either. You're Marines, so either you're MRSOC or you're recon, which is only two. Come and find out the man was a crossing guard.
or the biggest joke, I used to be former Mossad.
Yeah, we heard about it really seriously. These guys were former Mossad. But you went to high school in America.
Right.
But, you know, this is insane. But back to that guy, but it's so easy for these guys because they're only speaking to 1% of what their audience is. They're not, it's very rare, like you say, Forte, you have somebody actually doing security for all different genres of people. So you can only say the same threat you have going to Noble is not going to be the same threat you have going to see Little Bootsy. It's not.
Absolutely.
The same threat you have going to Spearman Rhino is not going to be the same level of threat you have going to Be Live in Houston. It's not.
It's not. Now what you're saying is real because we've said it for years and we've always proved it. You can't bring those dudes in to do what we do.
What I would say, right now, I tell you this all the time. You can go get goddamn Joe Biden's head of security. I could send him to Magic City with motherfucking amigos and he'd be goddamn lost. He wouldn't know what the fuck to do. He's out of his element.
Choked out with his tie.
Yes. You cannot scuba dive in a puddle. It's humanly impossible. You have some bloody knees.
Nah, that's real.
That's the joke.
That's real. That's the joke. And then I noticed he was promoting his school. He was promoting his school and his school program.
But this is the funny thing. Yes, I will give you credit. It's like Ben Carter. You have white collar clientele. Yep. You're not dealing in that felony clientele, and that's being realistic. So you only can train in certain things. You can have all the certificates you want in the world. If you have never actually pulled your firearm out to protect yourself, defend your client, defend your property, or actually with a shot or basic firearm safety, what are you doing? Right now, you notice, if you took 25 people to have a gun and you put them in a situation, 24 of them ain't going to know how to pull their gun off fast enough.
At all. 20 of them ain't going to have a bullet in the chamber.
Yeah. And 24 not going to know how to load it.
Yep.
If that motherfucker ain't locked in cock ready to roll, what you got it for?
Exactly.
A paperweight? Or are you going to be in the next Lil Wayne video? You can't be doing security if you ain't got one in the chamber. Anything might happen.
Absolutely. Like I said, I mean, it's becoming the biggest hustle in the world. It's the easiest industry to get into, the hardest industry to perform in.
Listen, let me tell you something. This is sad when Grace say, it hurts my heart. You can become a bodyguard quicker. You can start an OnlyFans page. And that's being realistic, brother. Trust me. And that's sad, bro.
Shit, you got some bodyguards with OnlyFans pages.
Yeah. That's what it's something's got to. Every time I see, I don't glorify what happens in the street, the violence, whatever. But sometimes you glorify this stuff happens, and you see that people need how it used to be to come back around.
Yeah.
10 years ago, people would have been on point for that type of situation.
Absolutely, they'd have been ready.
Yeah,
they'd have been ready.
Like I would tell you, mark my words, they're going to shut down spring break in Miami, Florida. South Beach going to lose a lot of money, man.
It's a wrap.
Now, listen to me. I want them to treat motherfucking spring break just like they're going to treat Memorial. We're going to see about Memorial Weekend because our people be on there. I want to see how they're going to treat it then.
Oh, of course. Shit, treat Myrtle Beach the same way.
Yeah. Come on. Because Black Bike Week is saving y'all.
Come on, and they've been dropping bodies every bike week, every bike week for years.
Myrtle Beach is like Ocean City, Maryland.
Facts.
You can go down there and spit on the ground and get 2 years probation.
Come on.
Prisons and jails full of out-of-towners. I only came for the weekend. It's insane, brother. It's insane. I'm gonna tell you, Tank. I told you before. This is another thing, right? Now, I don't want to mispronounce her medical condition the wrong way, Jada Pinkett Smith, but alopecia. I really think now, based upon this the hit with Chris Rock, that it's going to bring a lot of light on that condition. And I promise you, Mark my words, Pfizer is going to pay them. Mark my
shit.
words, Pfizer is going to pay the Smith family big for that because they're going to come through with a drug. Mark my words.
Oh shit. So what you think?
Yeah.
What you think? This is a whole play to a whole setup?
Look at Chris Rock's ticket sales from $40 to $400.
Wow. That's
Sold
interesting.
Out. Sold out.
That's interesting.
You know this. Everything nowadays is done with a conspiracy play behind it because it's never real. Look, this is the funny thing. Remember this, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you're going to see that news flash. If you got the corona vaccination shot and your arms and legs fell off, you can make some money. Trust me, bro.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact.
Yeah.
Now, you know what's funny? You said that. It's funny you mentioned that because, you know, the stock values of Pfizer and Moderna have been dropping. They've been dropping for weeks.
Exactly. But look what's going on at Walt Disney right now. Now Walt Disney stocks are dropping because what's going on in Florida right now.
Now what you think about that? That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. I saw people trying to promote it like as if it said no gay bill. They're talking about children from kindergarten to third grade. Now, why in the fuck would I want a teacher teaching my child
Thank you.
about sexual genders at kindergarten and third grade?
Listen to me. Because you know why, Tank? We always tell you before, it opens a door for all these pedophiles. No kids should be learning about sword fighting right now. And pumping cats. Like come on, man, you're doing too much. But like you say, remember, everything that was in the closet before, that we live in a Roman Empire when it comes to this filthy pedophile and perversion is out and open right now. That's all it is. It's out and open. What was in the closet is out now. Listen to me, normal missionary sex is going to get laughed about. You got to have a cat in the room, a dog in the room, a ceiling fan on. You have all types of crazy shit. It's be odd now. It's insane right now, man. Hold on. We're gonna move.
For sure.
Gotta go.
Yes, sir. Oh man, that's fucking hilarious. A ceiling fan. That is hilarious. Yeah, this is the only place you can get that kind of information on the job, man. That's why Horseman Law Podcast is the best protection bodyguard podcast in the world. I said it. Quote me on it. Nobody's doing what we doing. Nobody has the information that we have, the experience, the details, the resume. Now, I can't speak for all industries. J.K. made a very good point. Although I've worked in several industries, I've done government, I've done corporate, I've done some stuff overseas, Haiti, some natural disasters. I've done some of that stuff. I can't tell you I'm an expert at it. I did pretty well. I was told I did pretty well. So, but when it comes to hip hop, sports and entertainment, he's the best. He's the best. And, I'm a humble man. I'm a very, very humble man. But next to him, I don't see nobody really being better than me. It's just being real. But I'm like a fighter. You're supposed to say that. I'm a fighter. If you're in this business and you're a bodyguard, and this is your career, the career you've chosen, the life you've chosen, I hope you're striving to be the best. I hope you want to be the best. I hope you're doing whatever it takes to be the best. I hope you're training every day. I hope you're dieting. I hope you're learning as much as you can, picking up on all the information that's available to you, so that you can be the best. Me saying that I'm second best only because I have a mentor who taught me, is only saying that I do whatever I can to be the best at what I do. Learn as much as possible, and be better every day. Like I tell my sons, I don't care what you do. I don't care how you perform at what it is you like to do, as long as you're better tomorrow than you were today. That's it. That's all that matters. My son has a business, and as long as he's getting better at his business every day, I don't care about how much the business makes, how much he makes, how much money he brings in. I only care about that he's getting better at it, and he's better tomorrow than he was today. And that's how I feel about everybody else in this industry. I don't care who you work for. I don't care the trajectory of your career in this industry. I don't care if you're protecting 7-Elevens or you're protecting people at the Grammys. It doesn't matter. As long as you're better tomorrow than you were today, that's the only thing I respect. And when it comes to this industry and becomes to doing this, I can only tell you the most valuable principles, morals, and values that I adhere to are horseman principles, morals, and values. So our record speaks for itself. The work speaks for itself. And if you abide by these principles, morals, and values, I would argue you will receive the same success, if not more, from these principles, morals, and values. No, it's not. It's not the most professional way of teaching. I understand that. Those of you who be in my DMs and those of you who be in my messages and emails telling me that I'm not the most professional, or J. Kane and Killer J, and we're not the most professional teachers. We're not the most professional. Yeah, you could say all that. That's fine. It might not taste good. It might be bitter. It might be sweet, but the medicine is good for you. So it might not taste good, but check the track record, check the resume, check the long list of clients, check the amount of wealth that we have protected successfully. And I would argue that the principles and morals and values that go along with being a horseman are top tier and stand up to anybody in the protection industry, government, military, or otherwise. You understand? Because, there's billionaires in all walks of life. There are millionaires in all walks of life. Government doesn't have the only millionaires. The military doesn't have the only millionaires. Overseas corporate doesn't have all the millionaires. There are millionaires and billionaires in all walks of life. And if you want to add up and do the tally, I challenge those to do so. If you want to challenge our accumulated amount of wealth protected versus anybody else in all industries, I'm willing to do that versus. Yeah, I'm willing to do that versus. Anytime y'all want to do a bodyguard versus, and you want to see who's protected the most accumulated wealth, I'm down to do that. Any other two-man team in the world, as far as protection, I'm willing to accept that challenge, and I'm willing to do that. I think our record speaks for itself, and we can go head to head with any two-man group. Killer J can go head to head on any one-man challenge. I think I can hold my own on anybody in the industry or all industries on the accumulated amount of wealth protected. And I stand by that. And I'm with that. So I hope you enjoyed the show, man. I had a good time. It was much needed. All my brothers who are still out there doing their work, stay healthy, stay safe, stay honorable, stay loyal, and get back home at all costs. Get back home. And I'm going to close tonight's show like I do every show. With all due honor and praise to the Most High, I worship thee through the divine image of my wives. Amen and good night.